So it begins. Second episode of Zen with Christian Diego. That's me. Okay. No matter where you're at right now in the world, number one, breathe. One of my primary exercises when it comes to breathing is always exhale first. You gotta clear the lungs. You have to clear and dispose of the toxins that remain in your body first in order to accept and attain something that is clean, aura, energy, air. So always exhale first. If you inhale first, then you start to get a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, a little bit sporadic and tumultuous and scattered, and that's not where we want to be. Where we want to be is grounded, rooted to our core, to maintain a sense of level-headedness. Another word for that, I've been using this one often. It's called equanimity. I just love the way it rolls off the tongue. Equanimity, fire. So no matter where you're at right now, the number one thing that I would like you to do is to exhale. So let's take some moments right now in our day and just dedicate some time to breathing deeply, wholesomely, trusting ourselves with the process of expelling the negative and exercising our right to be positive. It is our natural birthright. It's to be happy. You weren't put on this earth to suffer. No matter what your scared mind, no matter what my scared mind tries its best to convince us of such, it's not true. You weren't put on earth to suffer. Life isn't all pain. So let's start with the exhale. And as we exhale, what we're doing with our minds and what we're doing with our body is just cleaning up the storage. And then when we go in for this deeper inhale, we follow it with another exhale. And as you release, you begin to come back to self. And as you come back home, you remember all the things that you've been through. You remember all the things that you done overcame. You remember your purpose and your reason and your passions and your inspiration, and you won't be sidetracked off of distractions and insecurities and obligations and so-called responsibilities and social ethics and all these things that are trying to bombard you in the world to stop you from being happy. You come back home with this breathing and you remember that everything is okay. You are okay. So we could go many routes with this. I might even just do this one. When faced with a dilemma, as I'm so very much human still. When faced with a dilemma, there's this affirmation, this quote that I repeat to myself daily. And it goes like this. Don't think, just move. And when you move, just think. There's a Zen proverb that goes, when you move, the way will open. Leer and the fish will appear. Oftentimes we get caught up in this process of quote-unquote overthinking, and all that truly is our separation between us and breathing. Now, what I mean by that is there's a process that I don't know the scientific, biochemical, molecular level of, but I know that there is a process of breathing where what we inhale is toxins of carbon dioxide or hydrogen, nitrogen, something like that, along with oxygen. And when we exhale all those things that don't serve us, but we keep the good, which is the oxygen, right? So the reason why we do that is because our blood is, think of it like a sponge. So it squeezes and then it releases. But when it releases the toxins that it doesn't need anymore, therefore keeping your blood clean. Now let me connect the bridge to overthinking. So if we're not mindful of deep breathing, that means that our blood isn't getting its full exercise. And when you don't exercise this blood, it begins to build up. And it especially builds up in your mind, your brain, physically speaking. So if we're not breathing, we're cutting off the air circulation. We're cutting off this blood exercise to cleanse ourselves. Now, how the brain is affected by this how the mind is affected by this is by the thoughts that we think. See, the brain and the mind are the same thing. One is physical and one is subjective. One is objective, one is subjective. So objectively speaking, if we're not on top of our breathing, we will be a product of a subjective experience. Now, what I mean by that is overthinking. We're not breathing deep. You cut off this air circulation and our brains begin to trip out. And this all happens subconsciously, unconsciously, and it is not aware to us as human beings to capture this often, to see this and to witness this experience. It's just something that we consider to be our reality, or something that Charles Sanders Peirce coined the term of the phaneron, the way that we filter our worlds. But what it truly is the fact that we're not taking care of what we can take care of with what's in front of us, which is our breathing. So you cut off this air circulation. You stop breathing deep. And your brain starts to trip out on itself. I'll tell you why. It's our survival instinct. We must survive. We have to find a way. Your brain is thinking, how come I'm not breathing right now? This isn't a thought that you're thinking. The thoughts that you're thinking while your brain is tripping or is scared, your mind will start to feel anxiety, depression, state of confusion, delusions, all these negative emotions, all these negative thoughts that we perceive to be our real selves. Nah, baby. It's us not paying attention to our breathing. How can we rely on our positive thinking when we're not living positively? We're not taking care of home. Our brain it needs oxygen. So once you reopen that air circulation and the brain gets to finish its process of cleansing itself, it no longer needs you to worry. It no longer needs you to become fearful. Therefore, you won't overthink it. You'll simply just be, because you're taking care of the temple. So oftentimes we think that overthinking and anxiety and all these things are a big part of our personality or identity. No, mama. Or nah, bro. My friend, my friends. Come back home. Come back to your grounding. You're non-judgmental. You're loving, compassionate, admirable, courageous root of life. Come back to this. This is home. This is the real you. You are not put here on this earth to suffer. Life isn't all just pain. You want to know what pain is? Pain is there to remind you of what is actually good in life. How can you appreciate something or someone good when you haven't experienced bad yet? You must go through the worst. You must experience the pain, the bad. So by the time that the good finally makes its way around you, you're like, holy fuck, this is amazing. I will never let this go. This moment, this experience, this person, this thing that's in front of me that I get to witness and be a part of, this is all beautiful because I remember all the times of dreary and agony and grief and burden. Someone once told me that there's more valleys than peaks. But as soon as you reach that peak, ecstasy. Now with Zen, with the practice of Zen, is to understand that that peak is life. That is the true life force. And that valley is what we call those that know, the knowing, the knowledgeable, the I already know that, I don't need to learn, I don't need to go to that class, I don't need to go out, I don't need to stay in, the ego, the egotistical predicament of assumption and judgment and behaving as if you know. That is the valley. But the peak is the unknowing. It is a gift to be arid. As a paraphrase from a video I've seen from Elliot O's, it is a gift to be arid, dry, quote unquote, blank, clear-minded. Because then and only then will you begin to experience life for what it is. Not what you think it is, but for what it truly is. And the more that you practice this, the more that you build this mental muscle, the more mindful you become. You become self-aware of the beauty of unpossession, with detachment, with not attaching yourself to things that you know, but being open-minded to life itself. So there's this quote that says, it's by Socrates. He says, I know one thing, and that is that I know nothing. I know one thing, and that is that I know nothing. The wisdom on that, the joy that you will feel when you practice human life that way, without being obstructed by ideologies and ethics and morals and rules and regulations and boxes, all these boxes, these lanes, these directions. I know one thing, and that is that I know nothing. Clear mind. And Lao Tzu once said, To the mind that is clear, to the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. To the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. You're not judging the future. You're not predicting the outcome. You're simply in it. You're present. And you're trusting your intuition, your integrity, your character. And you can't do it without breathing, being mindful of this. This is the core of meditation. Is to simply breathe. And when you do that, no matter where you go, you are always in a state of meditation. No matter what is around you, no matter what cars drive by, no matter what school is in session, no matter what blinds begin to open and things that start to knock on your door, you're breathing. You're home. You're within your soul. You're living life. By simply breathing. You don't judge. And when you don't judge, you don't feel like others are judging you. I said that. When you don't judge others, you don't feel like others are judging you. The sense of relief that you get when you practice that in social standings and being around other people and being around family and friends and strangers or going on a date and, doing whatever it is that you do when you're out, the sense of compassion and confidence that you get from practicing that life skill of being non-judgmental, knowing that you know nothing, staying within a state of meditation, practicing mindfulness. Now that is inner peace. And it's wild because as soon as you reconnect this neurological pathway, as soon as you connect this positive frequency, you'll fall in love with the way that this butterfly glides in the back of your mind's eye, just flowing. Not attaching yourself to worry, not making assumptions, making judgment calls. Staying present. There's this quote by Lao Tzu, and it goes like this: if you are thinking in the past, then you are depressed. If you are thinking in the future, then you are anxious. But if you are thinking in the present, then you are at peace. You gotta breathe. Can't judge others. Just do what's right in front of you. And when you do it with 1,000% intention to succeed, to win, to hunt, to kill, to execute. Anything that you do in this world, do it with 1,000% intention. You don't look back. You don't second guess. You don't doubt. You stay in the present moment. breathe deep, and then you move, you go, you pursue, you exercise. And this is where our inner primal instinct comes out to play. And our bodies and our genetics, we already know what to do. So what I'm simply doing is reminding you of how to get back there. Breathing. Breathing. Breathing deep. Breathing slow. Breathing with the intention and purpose to heal, rejuvenate, enlighten, to decrease the weight of the heaviness that we all carry, all of us carrying baggage, weight, scars, scabs, wounds. It's breathing. It's as simple as that. And then, what's the next step after breathing, right? Because we have to get pragmatic, realistic. What's the next move? This is what I said in the beginning, before things started to flow the way that they did. And they will always flow. Because this is what I did. This is what I do. Don't think, just move. And when you move, just think. That is the second step. On top of everything else that we're building here, you know, with every episode, there's going to be more life skills. There's going to be more deeper subconscious and unconscious equities and things that we are going to invest in. And throughout time, with all the things that we supplement our mind, body, heart, and soul, you will begin to recognize the difference between episode 1 and when we first started to walk down this journey together, and where you'll end up being, who you end up becoming. And I am excited to not only get you there, get me there, but to get us there. And it will happen. So, whatever you guys get into today, no matter where you're at in the world, whether it's daytime or nighttime, or you're coming back to this video for a reminder. I don't give advice. I don't tell you what to do. I'm just reminding you of things that you already thought of and telling you, hey, that's a good idea. Or as I like to say, that's a good life choice. I wish you well. I wish you courage. I send you energy. May the nature of the tiger or tigress reveal itself, and may you capture it, and may you live life with every step and every breath that you take.